Mr President, with great pleasure I move without notice that this House acknowledge the member for the East Metropolitan Region, the Hon Batong Pham.
The Hon Batong Pham.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is a great privilege to be speaking today and represent the people of the East Metropolitan Region. I take this opportunity to acknowledge my predecessor, Senator-elect Louise Pratt. I know she will bring her well-known enthusiasm, work ethic, and commitment to her new role in Canberra. She capably and intelligently represents the interests of Western Australians, and I wish her every success in her new endeavour. My journey to this place has been a remarkable one. In July last year, I suffered a brain aneurysm. I was taken to Royal Perth Hospital, and the medical staff told my friends and family that the situation was grave and my prospects poor. While I'm still undergoing some physical rehabilitation, the prognosis is excellent due to the world-class healthcare I receive in the public health system. I'm able to see my young sons, Alvin and Joseph, and to be there for them when they reach their milestones. Members, every time you hear a media story that our health system is in crisis, can I ask you to remember that my miracle recovery is one of thousands that occur on an almost daily basis. I take this opportunity to thank so many people for their prayers and best wishes during my illness. I also express my gratitude and admiration for the medical, nursing, and physical therapy staff at Royal Perth Hospital. Your hard work and professionalism are world class. It's only fitting to say that the expertise the Canberra government has established had the vision to invest record amounts of capital works. This means building new hospitals to ensure that the future health needs of Western Australians, wherever they live, can be met. But my great fortune began many years before that. I was born in Vietnam on 18th June 1967 in a small town called Barrier, which is found 16 kilometers from Long Tan, where a famous battle was fought and won by the Australian troops. Mr. President, every time I hear a division sound, it brings back memory of my childhood. As a child, when hearing the sound of the siren, I would have dropped everything and bolted for home, as it's curfew time. In 1978, our family left Vietnam and everything behind on a boat to search for freedom. We were fortunate to have reached the shore of Malaysia, whereas many others never made it to shore on our unseaworthy 10-meter length and 3-meter beam fishing carrying 75 passengers. In search for freedom, we did not know what we were heading for. This fishing vessel was unfit to sail on the Swan River, let alone prancing around in the open sea. On the second night of our escape journey, in search of freedom, we were hit with wet water storm. We all thought we were going to die. The Catholic were praying the Our Father to Jesus and Hail Mary to Mary, Mother of God, while the Buddhists are praying to Buddha, seeking for divine intervention. This is because we thought we all have been the end of our journey. Our prayer was answered in a mysterious way. A world vision ship appeared and rescued us. They transferred all the boat people onto the bigger ship, and we were well looked after. At that time, under the international water agreement, the ship could not take us to shore. World Vision then purchased another vessel from Malaysia safe enough to take us back to shore. The original fishing vessel was sunk during that night. We were safely taken to shore on the new vessel. We were taken to the refugee camp on the east coast of Malaysia. It was only then we realized how people set aside their life for freedom, for democracy. For many never been made it to shore of freedom. While we were in the refugee camp, we were interviewed by the United Nations and were given the claim of Palestinian refugee. On 14 February 1979, we finally arrived in Australia. It was only then we stood on Australian soil and we realized that we were out of danger. We were driven from Perth International Airport to Grayland Hostel, where our place for new migrants arrived. We stayed there for approximately 5 months. A lady by the name of Mary Clark, now deceased, who was a community nurse looking after the newly migrant arrived refugee. Mary approached my parents to find out whether we keen enough to move to Midland to settle. She introduced us to the Franciscans who helped us to stay in the house next door to their parish. Mr. President, my family are forever grateful and appreciate the help of the Clark family and the Franciscans who welcomed us with open arms. They also gave us their support during difficult moments upon our arrival in Australia. Mrs. Clark and her family would visit us during the week and often used to take our family to their happy farm at Hon Hill. 30 years on, a few would dispute that the Vietnamese community in Western Australia has made a huge contribution to the growth and prosperity of this state. As the first person of Vietnamese origin in this Western Australia to stand in this place, I'm extremely proud of my cultural heritage. I wonder how different things might have been if then Prime Minister Malcolm Fraser in 1977 had listened to his cabinet colleague John Howard speaking about accepting Vietnamese refugees into Australia. It has recently been reported in the Australian newspaper saying, "We don't want too many of these people. We're just doing this just for show, aren't we?" Mr. President, in representing the metropolitan region, I bring to this place my experience as a successful market gardener and a small businessman, a research officer, and of community activism. Mr. President, I'm extremely proud to be a member of the Australian Labor Party, a member of the Labor Party team in this place. I joined the ALP in 1996. My dear friend Ted Cunningham asked me to join. I would like to pay tribute to Ted Cunningham, who was my mentor and a great friend. I would not be here in this house today doing this speech if it wasn't for him. I wish that he was here with me, and I know for certain that he is with me in spirit. I met Ted in 1995 at his office in Gurwin. My family had some neighborhood issues. I acted on their behalf. I approached the local MP Ted Cunningham for help, for assistance on their behalf. He welcomed me into his office and said, "Come in, good people, come in, good people." Through his warm and friendly mannerism, we become good friends, and it was Ted that introduced me to the Labour Party. Having an interest in politics, he became my mentor and helped me, and dedication was lead me here today. Ted was a true politician. He was a honest, approachable, and a people person. You could find him Ted from the tavern, the race course, and even at the local TAB. He also attends school function and participates in events such as mouse racing. He certainly loves his chocolate wheel, and no doubt Ted could be described as the politician for seasons. Through his mentoring and advice, I was able to gain a deep knowledge into politics. I will certainly carry out his wishes to be a hard-working member of parliament who would always place people's concerns first. Once again, I will be always be indebted to Ted for the knowledge and the courage he had taught me. Over the years, I have made many friends in the ALP. I have assisted our elected members to help many community members on a range of issues. I'm looking forward closely with my colleagues in this place and thank them for their warm welcome. Mr. President, let's remain these two thanks the many friends and colleagues who have helped, supported, and acted as my mentor over the years. Although the list is vast, there are some who need special mention. The Honourable Michelle Roberts. I'm very privileged to have known Michelle and her family. She has been a great advisor, a supporter, and a good friend. Michelle is a strong-minded person who had always been there when I needed help. Michelle and Grace and her family are the great people to have as friends, and I will always value their friendship. The federal member for Perth, Stephen Smith. Stephen is a great tactician. I greatly appreciate his friendship and support over the years. I'm looking forward to working with him in conjunction with the state and federal issue. Johnny Raggio, a member for Ballajura. It was a great privilege to be part of his staff as a research officer and also as a friend. John, together with Elsa, are the nicest person that I or anyone could have encountered. John shall mean what he says and say what he means. I will continuously value their friendships and their support. Margaret Quirk. I had the privilege of working for Margaret Quirk as a research officer for almost 6 years. No doubt I have gained enormous experience from Margaret during my employment with her. She inherited the seat of Gurwin from Ted Cunningham and had done an exceptional job. She had built a strong foundation. One could call it the Great Wall of Gurwin, and it cannot be conquered by invaders. And last but certainly not least, I'd like to thank my wife Thuy, my mother Maria, my father Paul, my brother David Chung Hao and Francis, and my sister Trang Sin Hin. I would not be here today without the help of my parents. They have sacrificed themselves to give us the opportunity to a better life. I would also like to thank them for the way they have brought us up. They have taught us to be respectful, helpful, honest, and hardworking people. I would also like to thank my friends Bobby and Slavka Tanasowski, Zoran Kokeski, Nathan Hodges, Damien Kamlich, Marie Salinas, and Jonathan Melanie. Their secretary work hard and love every visit to my. I look forward of sharing my next exciting praise of life with you. Mr. President, I will strive forward, improving many aspects of the electorate. However, in particular have stood out when constituents have an appointment with me. This being public transport and the high cost of housing. The Morley contract area was the worst performing contract in terms of overall customer satisfaction. I am also concerned that the low level of housing affordability in both rented and home ownership area, and the increase of homelessness in our society. I believe that this government has a responsibility to take on a proactive approach in developing the strategy to increase the affordability, and in this respect need to be applaud the share equity loan scheme recently amended to help the first home buyer. However, we cannot sit back on our laurel, but continue to find new innovative way to assist the community on this issue of housing. In concluding, having much to be grateful for, I am reminded of that observation of former United States President John F. Kennedy, who once said, "As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not under words, to live by them." In my work in this place, Mr. President, I trust that my actions and word will reflect that sentiment